When you first met him, you think there's this pious man with the long beard, and once you got to know him, you saw the soft side of him.
I think of him as the quintessential teacher. We had great respect and adoration almost for him, and mutually he had a reverence for his students, treating his students with respect also.
I had never met another person that was so gentle and kind, soft-spoken, never raised his voice.
He walked like a malach. He walked like an angel. He had an ethereal tone to him. He floated into the room and he floated out, and he was the kindest, most gentle person you could imagine.
I had no problem with everyone loving my dad. He had plenty of heart for everybody. I sort of felt bad as I realized they all didn't have him as their father.
Rabbi Benjamin Nadoff of blessed memory touched the hearts and minds of the students at Hillel Academy for almost 4 decades, beginning in 1950.
He grew up in Chicago elementary school and went away to Yeshiva Tarvadas for high school and stayed there learning under Rabbi Mendelovich for high school and Beis Medrash. Rabbi Mendelovich was instrumental in assisting schools, day schools around the country. Torah Masorah sent young rabbis to fledgling communities, and my father ended up in Pittsburgh at about 24 years old.
We certainly didn't have teachers in Pittsburgh who were trained to teach in the day school. And they recommended Benjamin, and he came here as a young, sweet, lovable
boy, wonderful boy.
He came here when Hillel Academy was young too, begun just 3 years earlier.
I like to think of him as the bedrock of the teachers that we had. He was selfless, and he was timed, and he did what he had to do anytime, and the kids loved him.
The young rabbi came to Pittsburgh as a single man. That soon changed.
And it came time for him to be married, and several people talked about shidduchim. I remember very, very vividly, he came to us and he said, I want to talk to you about something. And he talks about the girl that they had suggested. I knew her family, I knew her father, and I said, that's a good idea.
Legend has it that Rabbi Nadoff and Mrs. Nadoff, Ms. Dunn at the time, both had schoolyard duty at the same time and spent time in the yard together. But I'm sure that they were introduced by some mutual friends and, you know, 2 available people in Pittsburgh, and they joined and made what I hope is a beautiful family.
That beautiful family grew to 8 children and many grandchildren, but hundreds of children loved Rabbi Nadoff.
If the children knew in the summer that Rabbi Nadoff was going to be teaching them, they were happy to get back to school. He had some kind of charm about him that when he walked into the classroom, his quiet demeanor caused everybody else to be quiet.
Rabbi Nadoff taught me at Hillel as a student from the time I was in 3rd grade through high school, as long as he was here. He was a teacher, he was assistant principal. I just knew Rabbi Nadoff seemingly my entire life.
I think as a teacher, I never heard him raise his voice, and we also had such great respect with his almost photographic memory of Torah.
He brought Tanakh to life. He made examples for us that we could understand as children.
If a student had an issue, he was always there to try to work it out. Even back when my sister was young and she didn't like the school lunches which were served, he would take her to his house at lunchtime and give her lunch because he wanted to make sure that everyone was taken care of.
His gentle manner made him a wonderful Jewish studies teacher, but Rabbi Nadoff's lessons lasted far beyond the classroom.
When I was at Hillel, maybe 6th, 7th, maybe 8th grade, I don't remember exactly, But one of the kids in the class made a passing remark about loafing and killing time. And Rabbi Nadoff lit up. I think he stroked his beard to show his angst with the whole topic, and I think he rose up on his tiptoes. And what he said was, Jews don't kill time. Every Jew has a mission in life. Every Jew has a purpose in life, and every second of every day is valuable. And that moment, I think, changed my life. And I've tried to aspire to that. I don't know how successful I've been. I think in my academic and in my professional life, surely that's been a major influence.
He also encouraged us to ask questions. And as a teacher today, I see how important it is. In Pirkei Avos, it says, Ein habaishan lomed, the embarrassed person can't learn. And I find that that's so true, and I always encourage my own students to ask questions, because if one person has a question, most likely someone else has that same question and they're also afraid to ask it.
Rabbi Nadoff's influence on the community stretched far beyond Hillel Academy.
I believe he was with Hillel for about 35 or 38 years, but his association with the community also included his circumcision career, and that continued long afterwards.
As the only Moel in town, for the many years before he trained Rabbi Mordechai Rosenberg to take his place, Rabbi Nadoff often performed Brit Milah on the children of his former students.
When my husband and I were living in San Francisco, our first child, Reuven, was born there. And San Francisco didn't have a Moel in the city. They usually brought someone up from Los Angeles. So it seemed to me and to my husband, Jeff, that the most logical thing to do would be to put this special mitzvah and procedure in the hands of somebody who we trusted so much, and we asked Rabbi Nadoff to fly out to San Francisco to do the Milah. My father, Albert Bloom, Alav Shalom, coined the phrase that he was the flying Moel, and he came out and was wonderful, having someone who we respected, we trusted so much, being able to help us with this first mitzvah with our family.
My relationship with Rabbi Nadoff started as a student a number of years ago. Many, many years later, I started working with him, and he also walked all the way to Highland Park to my mother's house on a Shabbos, and it was like 90 degrees, and he, with his asthma and everything, he walked all the way there to do the bris for my son on the Shabbos.
It isn't often that a community is blessed with a special teacher, learned scholar, and warm, wonderful human being like Rabbi Nadoff.
His legacy would be that of the most gentle and kind individual that you could imagine, a true Baal Midos.
His legacy is his students, without a doubt.